Hey, everyone. Welcome to this video on GDPR Article 16, the right to rectification. Now, before we dive in, let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever looked at your bank statement, your doctor's records, or your work HR file and spotted something that was just wrong? Maybe your name was misspelled, your address was outdated, or your medical history had an error. Here's the thing. Under European law, you have a legal right to get that fixed, and that right is called the right to rectification, which is what Article 16 of the GDPR is all about. In this video, we're going to break down exactly what this article says, what it means in plain English, and walk through some real-life examples so you can understand when and how this right applies to you. Okay, so let's start with the actual legal text, because Article 16 is actually very short, just 2 sentences. Sentence 1. The data subject shall have the right to obtain from the controller, without undue delay, the rectification of inaccurate personal data concerning him or her. Now, in plain English, this means if a company or organization has wrong information about you, you can go to them and say, fix it and fix it quickly. 3 key phrases here. First, data subject. That's you, the person the data is about. Second, controller. That's the company or organization holding your data. And third, without undue delay, meaning they can't just sit on your request and do nothing. Now sentence 2 says, taking into account the purposes of the processing, the data subject shall have the right to have incomplete personal data completed, including by means of providing a supplementary statement. This one is slightly different. It's not just about correcting wrong data, it's also about completing data that is missing or incomplete. And importantly, you can do this by providing a supplementary statement, meaning you can add information yourself rather than asking the company to guess. So to summarize, sentence 1 is fix wrong data. Sentence 2 is fill in missing data. Simple as that. All right, let's make this even simpler. Think of Article 16 like correcting a mistake in your official records, like getting a typo fixed on your passport or updating your address at the post office. You have a legal right to get it done. There are 3 main things you need to understand about this right. You can fix wrong info. If a company holds personal data about you that is factually incorrect, wrong name, wrong date of birth, wrong address, you can ask them to correct it. And they have to do it. You can complete missing info. If your data is incomplete, meaning there are gaps in what they hold about you, and those gaps are relevant to why they're using the data, you can ask them to fill those gaps in. Without undue delay, the company cannot ignore your request or delay it without good reason. Under GDPR, they typically have 1 calendar month to respond and act. They must take your request seriously and process it promptly. Now, one common question people ask is, does this mean you can change anything about yourself in a company's system? No, and that's important. This right only applies to data that is objectively wrong, meaning you can prove it's incorrect with a document or a clear fact, like a misspelled name or a wrong date of birth. Or data that is genuinely incomplete, meaning there's a relevant gap that actually affects how the data is being used, like an outdated job title in your HR file. It does not cover opinions or subjective assessments, like a performance review you disagree with. And it doesn't let you remove accurate records you simply don't like. That's a different right, the right to erasure under Article 17, which we'll cover in the next video. Before we go further, let's quickly lock down the 4 key terms you need to know, because the legal language can get a bit confusing. Data subject, that's you. The data subject is the individual person whose personal data is being collected or processed. So, if a bank holds information about you, you are the data subject. If your employer keeps records about you, again, you are the data subject. Controller, the organization holding your data. The controller is the organization or company that decides why and how your personal data is processed. This could be a bank, a hospital, an online retailer, your employer, or a government body. They are the ones you would contact to exercise your rights. Personal data, any info that identifies you. Personal data is any information that can identify you directly or indirectly. This includes obvious things like your name, email, and address, but also more subtle things like your IP address, your location data, or your medical records. Rectification, correcting or completing. And finally, rectification simply means making the data right. That could mean correcting a factual error or completing missing information. The word sounds formal, but it just means fix it. So to recap in one sentence, you, the data subject, can ask the controller to rectify your personal data. Got it? Great. Let's look at some real examples. Example 1, wrong name at the bank. Imagine your bank has your name on file as John Smith, but your legal name is actually John Smith. That's a factual error in your personal data. Under Article 16, you can contact the bank and request that they correct the spelling of your name. The bank is legally required to fix this without undue delay. They can't ignore it, and they can't charge you a fee for it. Example 2, incorrect medical record. This one is particularly serious. Suppose a hospital's records show that you are allergic to penicillin, but you are not. This is not just a privacy issue, it could be a genuine safety risk. Under Article 16, you have the right to demand immediate correction of that medical record. The stakes here make it very clear why this right matters so much. Example 3, missing job title in HR. Now, let's look at incomplete data. Say your employer's HR system lists your job title as engineer, but 6 months ago, you were promoted to senior engineer. The data isn't wrong exactly, but it's incomplete and outdated. Under Sentence 2 of Article 16, you can request that the updated title be added, or you can provide a supplementary statement yourself explaining the situation. Example 4, old address with a credit agency. This one affects a lot of people. Credit reference agencies often hold information about where you live. But what if they still have your address from 5 years ago? That outdated data could affect credit decisions made about you. You have the right to ask them to update your current address, keeping your data accurate and decisions made about you fair. How to exercise your right? So you've spotted inaccurate data about yourself. What do you actually do? Let's walk through the 5 steps. Step 1, identify the error. First, be specific. What is wrong and what should it say? Vague complaints are harder to act on. The clearer you are, the smoother the process will be. Step 2, contact the controller. Find the organization's data protection officer or their privacy team and send a written request. Email is perfectly fine. Most organizations have a privacy contact on their website. Make sure you put your request in writing so you have a record. Step 3, describe the problem clearly. In your request, explain exactly what data is wrong and what it should be. If you have supporting evidence, like a passport showing the correct spelling of your name or a payslip confirming your job title, include it. This speeds things up enormously. Step 4, wait for a response. The organization legally must respond within 1 month. In complex cases, they can extend this by up to 2 more months, but they must tell you within that first month that they need more time and why. Don't let them go silent on you. Step 5, escalate if needed. If the organization refuses your request without good reason or simply ignores you, you can escalate. Every EU country has a national data protection authority, and making a complaint is free. Obligations of the controller. What does Article 16 actually require of the organizations holding your data? 1. Respond within 1 month. The controller must inform you of the action they've taken within 1 calendar month of receiving your request. If they need more time for complex cases, they can extend by up to 2 more months, but they must notify you of this within the first month and explain why. 2. Act without undue delay. The word undue is important here. It means no unnecessary delay. Once they know what needs correcting, they should fix it as quickly as technically possible. Bureaucracy is not an excuse. 3. Notify third parties. Here's one that surprises a lot of people. If the controller has shared your data with other organizations, say a credit agency or a business partner, they must inform those third parties of the correction too. Your rectified data has to flow downstream, not just sit updated in one place. 4. No charge allowed. Responding to a rectification request must be free of charge. The only exception is if requests are deemed manifestly unfounded or excessive. For example, if someone is submitting dozens of requests purely to disrupt operations. Even then, the controller must justify the refusal in writing. 5. Right to refuse is very limited. Controllers can refuse your request, but only in narrow circumstances, and they must explain why in writing. They must also tell you about your right to complain to the supervisory authority. They cannot simply say no and go silent. 6. Document everything. Under the accountability principle in Article 5(2) of GDPR, controllers must keep records of all data subject requests and what they did in response. This isn't just best practice, it's a legal obligation. So, as you can see, the obligations on controllers are detailed, enforceable, and time-bound. This is not optional compliance. This is the law. Key takeaways. You have the right to correct wrong data. If any organization holds inaccurate personal data about you, you can request that they fix it. This is a legal right under EU law. You can also complete missing data. It's not just about errors. If your data is incomplete in a way that matters, you can request completion or submit a supplementary statement yourself. Organizations must act promptly. They have 1 month to respond and act. No unnecessary delays. No excuses. It's always free. You cannot be charged for making a rectification request. If they try to charge you, that's a violation. Third parties must also be notified. If your data was shared with others, those organizations must also be informed of the correction. Your right follows the data. You can escalate to a regulator. If an organization refuses or ignores your request, you can file a complaint with your National Data Protection Authority, and that complaint is free. That's Article 16 in a nutshell. Thank you.